food on the table. And I probably don't have to tell you, it wasn't a great environment for women. They didn't have a whole lot of choice with what she was going to do with her life. So when she moved to this country, for her, the United States, it really was the quintessential American dream, the land of opportunity. And when she started her own family here, she did everything she could, even though we were a working class family, to instill in her children a sense of gratitude for what it meant to have a roof over her head and food on the table. And so as I grew up, I was a voracious reader from a young age and was trying to make sense of what was going on in the world and couldn't understand why I had those basic needs met and other people didn't. And so that work has really turned into my life's mission. And I'm proud to call Vermont home and do that work here in Vermont. For the past 10 years, 8 of which have been in Vermont, I've been an advocate on some of the toughest issues facing Vermont's women, from domestic violence, access to transportation, food security, and then most recently in the State House on healthcare reform. And I realized, though, that it was time for me to step up to the plate and not be someone who was persuading from the sidelines, but to be one of the decision makers. And all the work that I've done on the ground, person by person, is critical. But I realized that as policy officials, with one decision, passing one law, you can change the lives of thousands of Vermonters, and I really see that as my role going forward. And as one of only 5 women in this country running for Lieutenant Governor, I understand the critical role that women's voices and leadership play in the policy-making decisions and our larger goal of encouraging more young women to get involved in politics. And as Steve mentioned, unlike my opponent, there's no ambiguity in where I stand or who I will fight for. As Lieutenant Governor, I will be vocal and vigilant in making sure that we're holding our ground on women's health, women's economic security, but that we are also moving forward. And to do that, I want to work with the governor, work with other state leaders to tackle things like maternity leave, paid sick days, affordable child care. Because we know that these issues, they're not only critical for women, but they're really about the economic prosperity and the future of our state. And even though Vermont is a pro-choice state, I think given the nature of the dialogue in this country, we just can't take anything for granted. And we shouldn't underestimate the role that the Lieutenant Governor can play in this process. And want to think back to Governor Cunin, who cast the tie-breaking vote on Planned Parenthood funding when she was serving as Lieutenant Governor. And it's also important to know that our current Lieutenant Governor, particularly on the issue of funding, wants to prohibit federal funding for abortion services. So this is a critical question today across the country and in the state. And again, I understand in an ideal world, women's health issues, economic security are not partisan, but in this day and age, and I think for the foreseeable future, the personal is political. And we can't escape the partisan nature of these discussions or the war on women. As Lieutenant Governor, I will be vocal and vigilant on these issues and for advocacy organizations like Planned Parenthood, because I recognize the critical role that they play and the importance of having strong female voices, not only participating in the conversation, but really helping to drive it. So thank you again for all of your support, and I look forward to the campaign trail and the world as beyond.